Hi, welcome to the Fall 2025 English Accent and Pronunciation Improvement course. Been doing this course off and on in one form or another for about 10 years, getting back in about 2015. It is a haptic course. Again, all of my work during this last 10 years is kind of centered around the idea of adding extensive use of gesture and touch to pronunciation teaching. So, in fact, we've called it haptic pronunciation teaching, as you can see it there. And the current course, this one uses what's now called the kinetic method. That is a new method that I've kind of brought together in the last 2 or 3 years as well. What it does is it adds the whole body to gesture and touch. So this is sort of a kind of full body method for teaching pronunciation, except it's more fun. Guaranteed. Anyway, there's the acronym EAPIC, pronounced EPIC. The materials, all the course materials and lots and lots of information about haptic pronunciation teaching is on the blog, the Hiccuper blog. Kind of an odd odd pronunciation for the name of the blog, right? But haptic integrated clinical pronunciation research and teaching. And there's been about 1,000 blog posts on the blog, and about 600,000 or 700,000 views over the last 15 years, beginning back in 2010. So anything you want to know about haptic pronunciation teaching, you got it right there. Like I say, we're beginning the 25th today. And on the blog, every video, every training video, and every feedback video will be posted on the blog. The link will be here. So what do you get for this course? Again, I'm going to give you the claims up front, and after 2 or 3 weeks, you can check me on that and see how it's going. But better accent and pronunciation, that's the easy one. Better expressiveness in speaking. One of the things you'll be doing is playing with your voice, working with different styles of speaking, and kind of figuring out what the new you ought to sound like. More confidence in speaking. Several of the techniques, especially in the latter part of the course, are designed to help you feel more comfortable while you're speaking using these gesture and touch techniques. Number 4, a good method for continuing to improve. My guess is, if you're interested in this course at all, you're a continual learner, a nonstop, always learning, and this will add to it. It'll give you particularly a technique, this kind of oral reading technique that we use, that is extremely helpful from many perspectives, and we'll talk more about that as the course goes on. This one, is good for anybody kind of intermediate level and above, upper intermediate, something like that. This is CLB, is Canadian Language Benchmarks, if you're familiar with that system, or the IELTS, which maybe everybody is familiar with. So level 5 on up, something like that. But it's okay. The method itself, the basic course, could be used in preschool. It can also be used for very high level accent improvement, accent programs. So it's the method itself is very adaptable. This particular course, particularly the language, the vocabulary, is centered at kind of IELTS 5 level. 10 weeks long, as you've seen already. Every Thursday, I will post a video kind of like this one, although this video will probably be a little bit longer than 20 minutes, but usually it will be 20 minutes of training, just training, and then that will give you also instructions for your homework for the week. And about homework, to make this work, to really get a lot out of this course, like any good course, right? You got to do the homework. You can do this within 15 to 30 minutes a day. 15 minutes is enough if you're really tight and you're focused and warmed up and kind of your head's there to do with. And then on Wednesday evening, 8 to 9 Eastern Standard Time. If for basically, was it about $20 per lesson? Well, we have an open feedback lesson live it'll be on Zoom or Google Meet, one of the others, something like that. And we talk, ask questions. Particularly, I work with individuals on the kind of gestures they're using, if they're using the best gesture for what they're working on in their speaking, things like that. And that goes from 8 until, it says 9 here, sometimes longer than that, as long as we want to, is what that's about. That's again, adds a lot to the course, but if you just do the free course, you do the homework, you're guaranteed. I'll give you your money back if you don't make terrific progress. How's that? Now the syllabus, as you can see, is, if you've looked at, probably most of you have done pronunciation courses, is pretty standard. Rhythm, fluency, consonants, vowels, and sort of thing. However, let me just explain a little bit. Lesson 1, which is next week. In fact, I'm going to give you a little sample of that in a minute. That one deals with grammar, kind of how pronunciation and grammar fit together with rhythm. Very important to give you kind of a basic pattern that we work on throughout the course. Then week 2, fluency, is kinetic. That's the body fluency, using your whole body in practicing and in the speaking process in various ways. The consonants, that's week 3. Those are kind of common problems to everybody, but think of consonants, that one. It's more like punctuation. One of the things that every good course does when you do something like this is kind of activate or energize your consonants again, making them sharper and more pronounced, right? But that's what that's about. It's not just about learning the consonants. Even the ones you know, you'll need to develop better awareness and sharp articulation. 4 and 5 are vowels, long vowels, short vowels in English. Everybody does that. The reason for those two is memory. Because when we remember words, part of the link is to the most important part of that word, the syllable, and that will be a vowel. So take a word like pronunciation, that A sound. Later on, in the haptic system, if you can take that vowel, and you'll very easily, it will connect it to all the words that you have used with it, that you've worked with, plus other new words. So a lot of the ways we access words and pronunciation is through these key vowels, or the stressed vowels of words. Again, I'm sorry, you may know that already, but that's the point of doing the vowel work. The consonant 6 is basically students decide which ones they want to work on. They've still got problems with. We can generally fix anything with about a 5-minute kind of treatment, and then about 2 weeks of work. So to change a consonant, to get that into your speaking, you got to work on it every day for a couple of weeks for it to finally begin to come through sort of unconsciously, something like that. Then you got melody 1 and 2, those just singing, just the little pieces of the melody of English, and then full sentences. That's basically what that is. But again, the little ones are like things like, thank you very much, little short phrases. And then the longer pieces are long pieces, long speaking turns, where you may speak for like 2 sentences or something like that. Excuse me. Then fluency, number 9, is conversation. So by this point, the things you've been doing, and I'll kind of show you how these work, we'll begin working with conversation. So you'll practice at home, and you'll be able to, in conversation with your friends, you'll be able to use some of these techniques. You'll be more conscious of them, how your voice is changing. And then number 10 is public speaking. That's like for giving speeches or reports, classroom stuff, business reports. And again, the gestures are, as you can imagine, are a little stiffer and tighter, that sort of thing. But again, even the gestures that we use in Rhythm 2 are ones that many public speaking courses will teach you as well. How to use your hands, how to use your upper body, how to use turning of your upper body, things of that nature. All right, now a normal lesson will begin right here. With it, I'm going to give you just a little bit to show you what next week's lesson will be about. It's usually three things. It's a warm-up, training, and what we call an embodied oral reading. So the warm-up, for example, for next week, and this will go on for about 5 minutes usually. There's an upper chest and shoulders stretcher, you're doing this sort of thing, something like that. Nasal buzz, it's yin, yang, yang. Why do we do that one? That's to make your voice clear, give you clarity in your voice. And then number 3 is like any music class you've ever taken where you go yin, 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 yang, 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 or you go down, yin, 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 yin. So what we're going to do there is we're going to kind of focus on the high end of your voice and the very low end of your voice, about as low as you speak, that level, and get those to bring them forward a little bit so you have better control of them and more clarity. That's basically what that's for, clarity. Then the last one is for breathing. That's ooh and ah, opening up your chest and your upper, particularly your above your diaphragm, your lower area of your chest for breathing. So that's kind of a breathing exercise. That's typical of the warm-ups, something like that. Every week, some combination of things of that nature. And then here's an example for next week, what's called the syllable butterfly training. Now the syllable, but the butterfly is the technique that is used in psychology and counseling and therapy. They have people tap on their deltoid muscles, kind of like this. And in fact, anytime you've been doing too much multitasking with your iPhone, too much, just do this for about 2 minutes and it'll help you. It'll help kind of pull you back. It'll bring you back into the present. Sort of like mindfulness. I mean, many of you, I'm sure, do mindfulness. So the butterfly is based on that idea of that grounding in the present, feeling it in your body. And you see here, we call them MT4, movement, tone, tempo, and touch. So these gestures, they include movement, they include touch, they include tone. That is like musical tone, and tempo, speed, and touch. And there are many different kinds of touch: light touch, heavy, strong touch, moving, scratching, all kinds of things. Several kinds of touch. But we call them MT4s instead of the word technique. So here, for example, here's just a little bit of one of them. Next week, we'll do the syllable butterfly technique. And here you can see the training. Training, we use 16 words. And I'll just kind of show you what this means. You can see the strong tap on stressed syllable. That's up here on your right shoulder, up there, for these stressed words. Then the unstressed, the light tap down here on your brachioradialis muscle right here, just kind of above your elbow, very lightly. So the stressed syllables up here, unstressed down here. For example, cool. And then that's cool. Very cool. That's really cool. I'll do one more, just to kind of show you how that works. So again, I'll lead you through training, and we'll do some of these a couple of times, and we'll pause and that sort of thing. Here's awesome. So it's awesome. Strong syllable, then light syllable. Awesome. And then that's awesome. Really awesome. That's really awesome. So you get the idea? So what we're doing, we're isolating strong and weaker sounds at different places in the body. We're pulling them apart and using the body, the kinetic system, to move those sounds, and so you can better concentrate on them and you can remember them. That's the whole idea. So anyway, that's the syllable butterfly, and we'll do training on that. Then here's what I've been talking about, this embodied oral reading. And notice that's our pronunciation of the acronym would be EOR. But of course, any of you is anybody out there as old as I am, who read or who had read to them the great Winnie the Pooh story, the donkey was Eeyore, right? So that name is kind of, we can't use the name, but you can in private, right? So the embodied oral reading, the Eeyore, what it does is it takes the syllable butterfly that I just showed you. And then it uses it in various ways to work on that text. And for example, I'll just show you the first one. For example, I think we've got it figured out. What I did there is I just looked at the symbols below the line and light tap here, heavy tap here. I think we've got it figured out. So what we'll do, we'll practice those in several different ways. I mean, one of the ways we will do it, for example, the first thing you'll do is you'll do this. All I did was the MP4s, just the MP4s themselves. Make sure I got them. Then I add the words to it. And then maybe I do it a little bit faster. Maybe I do one group at a time. I think we've got it figured out. And then I do the whole line and so on. Or I do it with a different voice, higher pitch, lower pitch, many different ways we will use. Again, why are we doing this? The idea is to pull these things apart so you can concentrate on them or focus on them, give your attention to them separately, and then kind of bring them back together. That's the idea of the whole kinetic system. So there's you see, and usually these little embodied oral readings are 12 lines long. It's like two people, a little conversation of 12. Okay, you look down here. This is a story about somebody who comes in to have his car fixed, and it's going to be very expensive. You can see 4A. It's about $150. Can't do that today. This is an old Eeyore, tell me, right? For $150, you get a muffler fixed? Yeah, probably not. Anyway, there you are. Now, just a little bit of a summary here. The homework, warm up, training, embodied oral reading every day, and then every day you practice, or you practice 6 days a week. I always take one day off. And you do it standing usually. So when I do the training, I will be standing up. And I would recommend you do too, just for breathing. So you use good posture. I'll show you a little bit different posture for this. Good gesture. Again, the gesture is the reason to come to the Wednesday night session. So I can help you with making sure you really are doing the gesture well. The gesture is kind of the key to the whole system. Using a pleasing, beautiful voice. Choose a new voice if you'd like. Good breathing and confident volume. And if you're at home, you may have to back off a little bit on the volume, but again, a level of volume in your practice that you generally do not use when you're speaking with friends and at school and in your company. The weekly schedule then, Thursday, so Wednesday you have you've done the Thursday you watch the video. Like I say, 20 minutes usually. Friday you do the video training. Now you can do it with the video or you can do it by yourself. Usually on Friday I tell people to go back to the video, do it along with the video. And then after that you can do it by yourself. And in an embodied oral reading, we usually go through it 4 times. So MP4 each line, I showed you that. Then each rhythm group, one at a time, make sure we got each one of them. Then we do the entire embodied oral reading. Then the last time, the 4th time, we try to do it so it sounds like real speaking with some expressiveness. Right? And then on Saturday, by Saturday, we begin collecting words. The idea here is throughout the course, you keep every day after you finish, quickly take 2 minutes or 1 minute, simply write down what you did. A little diary, a little journal. And also you begin to, as you're working with this, you'll begin to hear words and phrases that you're not quite sure you know how to pronounce that you like to pronounce better. And that'll help. That'll make that work, right? That's what that's about. You take notes. And then you bring those notes with you to the Wednesday evening one, or I will show you how to work with those notes yourself. You don't have to come to the Wednesday one or the Wednesday evening one to make good progress, but it's good. It's fun. All right. Sunday, I take Sunday off always. I'd recommend that. You could even take 2 days off. Space them. If you really work well and really intently, with good intention, 5 days a week for the EAPIC course is enough. You'll make good progress. Same thing for Tuesday, Monday and Tuesday. Kind of the same thing. One more last thing: the embodied oral reading Each day I will give you kind of different directions on what to do as you practice, not the same set of 4 steps. They'll be different each time. Then Wednesday, you come to the feedback session or continue to work by yourself. And in the feedback session, usually about an hour, first thing we do is we go over the embodied oral reading very carefully. And I have you on video, and I watch you and see how you're doing it. And I help you make sure that the gestures you're using and the kind of body rhythms are as good as you can do at the moment. And then that's that B, I'm checking your MT4s, remember? Movement, tone, tempo, touch techniques. Then questions from students. Anything you want to ask about, you want to help with pronouncing maybe somebody's name or name of a chemical or something, anything, you do that. And then finally, the last 5 minutes is a preview of the next week's lesson. Okay, so how's it work? Again, I'm just going to tell you how I think it works. And I promise you, I like any course. If you just do the work, if you do the homework, if you're conscientious and disciplined, you can't help but make good progress. But anyway, here's what I think. So I know from research that gesture and touch make easier to learn and remember. That's really critical. Lots of research on that, on the brain. There's lots of research on attention. So using your whole body, part of the reason for that is if you're using your whole body, you don't have any brain left to think about anything else. So that was for sure. But again, a lot of research in athletics and coaching and that sort of thing on full body engagement and breathing and that kind of thing. Rhythm and gesture, very interesting. Using rhythm and gesture together, it's like putting your foot on the gas pedal and the brake at the same time. So on the one hand, the gesture and rhythm are energetic, but at the same time they keep relaxing you. They go back and forth between kind of feeling a kind of emotional up and then back off, in and out, something like that. The embodied oral reading, the reason I use it was from a great teacher from about a decade, about 100 years ago, Arthur Lesak. And it was his technique for helping people work with something and bring it into conversation. It's based on that idea. Again, it's oral reading. It's not conversation. You just do an oral reading on your own, and those things begin to move into your spontaneous speech. Next to last one, practicing embodied oral reading every day trains your mind and body to move and speak a little more like English speakers do. Now, I'm not trying to turn you into an English speaker. However, when it comes to rhythm of English, I'm sure you could do it yourself. I mean, I can watch people and I can tell you if they're a native speaker from a long ways off just by the rhythm of their body as they're speaking, particularly if they're excited and interested. And finally, part of the idea here in this course is to use what you know already. So you will learn some new words. It's not a vocabulary course. In the embodied oral readings and in your homework, you'll come up to new words you want to learn. But this is really good for helping you use the words that you know already. You know how to pronounce them, sort of, but you may have the wrong stress. You may have the wrong vowel in that key strong vowel. That may be not quite right, which kind of messes things up a little bit. Anyway, it's at some level, it is. We really try to work with what you know how to almost pronounce, but you need to clean it up a bit. That's really the idea. Anyway, that's the course. As you can tell, I love it. Been doing it a long time, and I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of students, and I've just been a thrill to watch them improve, and as I will with you, I'm sure. Anyway, there's my email, wracton@gmail.com. If you got any questions, or if you want to sign up for the Wednesday evening class, the $200, we do that through PayPal. So anyway, connect with me if you want to do that. And I would say too, even if you just do the free course and you get through like 2 or 3 lessons and you think, hey man, I really would like to connect up with the Wednesday class, those will be recorded. So even if you decide to come on to the Wednesday class week 4, I'll give you a link it'll go back so you can review all the things that happened in the first 4 lessons. So anyway, so just kind of watch it and work yourself. I mean, I would say try it. See if you can do the practice, then I think you should do the Wednesday course. I guess that's what I would say. And the other thing I will always say, and sort of our standard sign off in haptic pronunciation teaching is keep in touch.